You think you know what McDonald's is. Fast food, golden arches, Happy Meals, a place you go when you're tired, hungry, or losing a debate with your kids. Wrong. McDonald's is one of the largest real estate companies on the planet. And the burger? The burger is just the excuse. Here's the part that breaks most people's brains. McDonald's doesn't make most of its money from selling food. It makes most of its money from collecting rent. Let that sit for a second. The company that invented the Big Mac is, at its core, a landlord. And once you understand how that happened, you will never look at a fast food restaurant the same way again. The beginning. Let's go back. 1954. A 52-year-old milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc drives out to San Bernardino, California. He's heard about a burger stand that ordered 8 of his machines at once. 8. Most diners ordered 1. He walks in and finds 2 brothers, Dick and Mac McDonald, running the fastest, most efficient food operation he's ever seen. No waitresses, no car hops, no jukebox. Just a simple menu, an assembly line kitchen, and food ready in 60 seconds. Kroc sees something the brothers don't. Not a restaurant. A system. A system that could be copied. Endlessly. Everywhere. He convinces them to let him franchise it. By 1961, he buys them out entirely for $2.7 million. Now here's where the story gets interesting. Kroc starts opening franchises. He finds people willing to pay to use the McDonald's name, the system, the recipes. Seems like a good business. But there's a problem. The early franchise model is barely making money. Franchisees pay a small cut of sales. Kroc barely has enough cash to keep the lights on at headquarters. The company is bleeding. He needs a new idea. And he finds one from a man named Harry Sonneborn, the man who changed everything. Harry Sonneborn was McDonald's first CFO, and he said something that changed the entire trajectory of the company. We are not technically in the food business. We are in the real estate business. Read that again. Not the food business. The real estate business. Here's what he meant. Instead of just licensing the McDonald's name to franchisees, McDonald's would find the land. McDonald's would sign the lease. McDonald's would own or control the property. And then McDonald's would sublease that location back to the franchisee at a markup. So now McDonald's isn't just a franchisor, it's a landlord collecting rent every single month from thousands of locations around the world. Whether the franchisee is selling 1 million burgers or struggling through a slow quarter, the rent still comes in. This one idea transformed McDonald's from a barely profitable franchise operation into one of the most financially resilient corporations in human history. How the model actually works. Let's break down exactly how this works today. There are roughly 40,000 McDonald's locations worldwide. About 95% of them are franchised, meaning an independent operator, not McDonald's corporate, runs the day-to-day. The franchisee pays to play in 3 ways. First, an upfront franchise fee, around $45,000 just to get in the door. Second, a royalty on sales, currently around 4 to 5% of gross sales, paid to McDonald's every month regardless of profit. Third, and this is the key one, rent. Because in most cases, McDonald's owns or controls the real estate, and the franchisee pays rent directly to McDonald's for the privilege of operating on that land. That rent is typically structured as a percentage of sales, usually around 10 to 12%, or a fixed monthly minimum, whichever is higher. So McDonald's is getting royalties on your sales and rent on your location at the same time, every month, forever. That's not a franchise deal. That's a franchise deal wrapped inside a real estate deal, with McDonald's holding both ends of the rope. The numbers. Let's look at what this actually produces financially. McDonald's total revenue in recent years has hovered around $23 billion annually. But here's the breakdown that matters. Company-operated restaurants, the ones McDonald's runs directly, contribute a shrinking share of that because McDonald's has been deliberately selling off its own restaurants and converting them to franchises. Why would they do that? Because running a restaurant is hard. Staff costs, food costs, waste, theft, spoilage. Margins are thin and unpredictable. But collecting rent? Rent is clean. Rent is predictable. Rent arrives on the first of every month whether the restaurant is busy or not. Franchise revenues, royalties plus rent, account for the majority of McDonald's total revenue, and more importantly, the vast majority of McDonald's profit. Operating margins on the franchise segment run around 80 to 85%. Compare that to company-operated restaurants, where margins are typically 15 to 20% at best. The business that looks like a burger chain earns margins that look like a bank. The land. Now, let's talk about the actual real estate. McDonald's owns approximately 45% of the land its restaurants sit on, and it controls, through long-term leases, most of the rest. The land and building portfolio of McDonald's is estimated to be worth somewhere between $30 to $40 billion. That's more than the market cap of many Fortune 500 companies, sitting quietly under golden arches around the world. And here's what makes makes land such a powerful asset? It doesn't depreciate. Equipment breaks down. Computers become obsolete. Buildings need maintenance. Land just sits there. And in most markets, especially in high-traffic commercial zones where McDonald's likes to locate, it goes up in value. So McDonald's is collecting rent today, and the underlying asset is worth more tomorrow. That's the double engine. Cash flow now, appreciation later, running simultaneously. For decades, why location is the real product. Ray Kroc once said, "I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate," and he meant it literally. McDonald's location strategy is not random. It is one of the most sophisticated real estate research operations in the world. Before opening a single location, McDonald's analyzes traffic patterns, population density, income levels in the surrounding area, proximity to schools, highways, and shopping centers, competitor locations, future development plans for the neighborhood. They used to literally fly helicopters over potential sites to analyze traffic flow before committing. McDonald's isn't picking where to put a burger restaurant. It's picking where to put a piece of real estate. The burger restaurant is just what justifies the acquisition. This is why a McDonald's in a prime location, Times Square, a major highway interchange, an airport terminal, might do $5 to $10 million in annual sales. Not because the food is better there, because the real estate is better there. And McDonald's knew that before anyone else did. The franchisee trap. Now, let's talk about the franchisee's side of this deal, because it's not as simple as it looks from the outside. To open a McDonald's franchise, you need liquid assets of at least $500,000. Total investment between $1 million and $2.3 million per location. That covers the franchise fee, equipment, signage, initial inventory, and working capital. You don't have to buy the real estate. McDonald's already handled that, which is exactly why they have so much leverage over you. Because here's the thing. You've just invested over $1 million into a business. On land you don't own. In a building you don't own. Under a brand name you don't own. Using a system you don't own. And every month you write a check to McDonald's for rent, and another check for royalties. Before you pay your staff, before you pay for your food, before you pay yourself a single dollar. If you stop paying, McDonald's can remove you from the property, because they control the lease. You have no leverage. They have all of it. This is not an accident. It is the design. The brilliant trap that benefits everyone. Here's the thing though. The deal isn't as one-sided as it sounds, because McDonald's has every incentive to make its franchisees successful. If the franchisee does well, sales go up, and McDonald's collects more in percentage-based rent and royalties. If the franchisee fails, McDonald's has to find a new operator, rebuild the business, absorb the cost of transition. So McDonald's spends billions on marketing and national advertising, supply chain infrastructure, product development, technology and ordering systems, franchisee training programs. They literally built Hamburger University, an actual university with a campus, faculty, and curriculum, dedicated entirely to teaching people how to run a McDonald's more profitably. Because a better franchisee means more sales. More sales means more rent. More rent means more profit. Everyone moves in the same direction. McDonald's success is structurally tied to franchisee success. That alignment is the secret weapon, the balance sheet nobody talks about. Let's look at what McDonald's balance sheet actually says. McDonald's carries significant long-term debt, often over $35 billion. That sounds terrifying on the surface, but look at what's on the other side of that equation. Billions in real estate assets, thousands of properties across 100 countries, in some of the highest traffic commercial corridors on Earth. The debt is being used to acquire and control real estate that generates predictable, contractually obligated cash flow every single month from tens of thousands of franchisees. This is not reckless borrowing. This is a real estate investment strategy. McDonald's borrows money at relatively low corporate interest rates, uses it to control prime commercial real estate, then leases that real estate at a higher rate to franchisees. The spread, the difference between what McDonald's pays to borrow and what it collects in rent, is the profit engine. It's the same fundamental strategy that real estate developers have used for a century. McDonald's just wrapped a burger restaurant around it so nobody would notice. Why this makes McDonald's nearly unkillable. This structure explains something that confuses a lot of people. Why is McDonald's so hard to destroy? Other restaurant chains have collapsed. Trends change. Tastes shift. Fast casual disrupted everything. Health trends have been declared the death of fast food for 30 straight years. McDonald's keeps going. Here's why. Even if nobody ate a single burger tomorrow, even if the food became completely irrelevant, McDonald's would still own or control tens of thousands of properties in premium locations around the world, worth tens of billions of dollars. The worst-case scenario for McDonald's is that it becomes a global real estate company with empty restaurant buildings on its properties, and that company would still be worth an enormous amount of money. The food is not the foundation. The land is the foundation. The food just keeps the cash flowing, while the land appreciates underneath everything. The McDonald's paradox. Here's the paradox that makes this whole story so fascinating. McDonald's is technically a franchisor. It collects royalties on food sales, but its most valuable asset is not its brand, not its recipes, not its supply chain, not Ronald McDonald. It's the dirt. 40,000 patches of dirt in high-traffic locations across 100 countries, each one chosen with military-grade precision, each one producing rent every single month, regardless of interest rates, consumer sentiment, or economic downturns. People always need to eat, and McDonald's made sure that wherever they decided to eat cheaply and quickly, there would be a McDonald's on land that McDonald's controls. What this means for everyone else, McDonald's didn't invent this strategy alone, but they perfected it at a scale nobody else has matched. Other franchise companies have studied the model and replicated pieces of it. Subway, Domino's, Yum Brands. They all operate on franchise royalty models, but none of them own the real estate underneath their franchisees at the scale McDonald's does. That's the moat. You can copy the menu, you can copy the golden arches, you can copy the drive-thru, you can copy the Happy Meal. You cannot easily replicate 40,000 strategically chosen real estate locations built over 70 years. That portfolio took decades to assemble. It cannot be bought overnight. It cannot be built overnight. And every single year it sits there, quietly collecting rent. The competitive moat gets wider. New competitors have to start from zero. McDonald's already owns the corner. The final number. Let's end with a number. McDonald's market cap regularly exceeds $200 billion. If you added up the value of every Big Mac ever sold, you would not get close to that number. That valuation is not a reflection of how good the burgers are. It is a reflection of the real estate empire sitting underneath the restaurants. The contractual rent income flowing in from thousands of operators worldwide, the brand that guarantees those operators will keep paying, and the land, the actual physical land, that nobody can manufacture more of. Ray Kroc didn't build the world's greatest restaurant chain. He built the world's greatest real estate company and put a burger on top so nobody would notice. McDonald's is not an accident. It is not a fast food chain that got lucky. It is a decades-long real estate accumulation strategy disguised as a place to buy a cheeseburger. Next time you drive past those golden arches, you're not looking at a restaurant. You're looking at a landlord, one of the biggest landlords on the planet, who happens to also sell fries.